Hello, hello. Welcome to Self-Love Sunday Chat. As always, we need to give Facebook a few moments to show this live and for all of you to find me. It might be a bit more difficult to find me today because for the first time I'm only in our free Facebook group. So I'll check here on my phone if I'm actually live. And if you are here, please let me know. Just say hi in the comments or give me, a thumbs up so that I know that this is actually working. I can't see it. Okay, I can see some of you are here already. That's perfect. Yeah, perfect. Hi, Hansa. Good. Thanks a million. Thanks a million for being here. Thanks a million for letting me know that everything is working. So that's brilliant. We'll see how it goes. I know that some people are used to seeing this on my Facebook business page, but from now on we'll be just in the group. Okay, so again, a very warm welcome. Good to see you all here. The first thing that I want to say is just a reminder about the self-love retreat that is starting on the 21st of March. I'm very deeply aware that even as we are like talking here, yes, morning Emma, even as we are talking here, there are like horrible things happening in Ukraine. There is like towns being destroyed and people running away and people dying and being killed. So it's all like heartbreaking. It's even difficult to imagine. And I'm sure you as well as me, we all have a full range of emotions that this triggers in us. But still, I'm showing up for the work that I do, and you're showing up, on a Sunday morning or watching the replay, whenever you're watching the replay, because I believe that, apart from very practical things that we can do, like donate money or things or pray, I hope you believe as well as me that it is essential that we do whatever we can to create peace within ourselves, to create like peace and love in our own lives first, and that we can grow and that we can become stronger and more resilient, and we can like see through the patterns that keep us stuck, so that like together as a group of women, we can move towards freedom and towards truth. Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that is exactly what we are going to do during the retreat. So we will grow stronger, more resilient, and we will kind of stay rooted in this very soft but invincible feminine power. Thanks, Hansa. Yes, and of course, like, please share this with as many women as you can. The more of us gather together, the stronger the energy, and the easier for us to make these changes. So yes, please do share. And also, this of course will be like a free event again, but I will be asking you to, if it feels right, of course, to donate like a few euros to a Polish charity. So I set up this fundraiser. There is a link above this video. It's a very reliable Polish charity that's been working in the world for over 30 years now. And they are doing a lot of amazing work, both with the refugees that are fleeing to Poland at the moment, and with the people, with the civilians in Ukraine. So if that resonates, There is also a link above this video. All right, so let's talk about addictions. Yes, emotional addictions, because that's why we are here today. So when we think about addictions, we most often think about external substances, yes, like alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, or external actions like gaming, gambling, eating, sex, whatever it might be. But we seldom think about the fact that we might be addicted as well to our internal states or our internal processes. And this is something that is coming to the surface more and more often, because it turns out, and all the psychologists and neuroscientists have been discovering that even for these external addictions, at the core of them, there usually is an emotional addiction. So like the substance or the external substance or the external activity is just a means to an end. Yes, but like what we really want to achieve is to feel a certain way or to stop feeling a certain way. So even in case of if you listen to Gabor Mate, for example, he's a brilliant expert on addictions. He always brings it back to, to the emotional addiction that is at the core even of all the external addictions as well. So it is always about this relief that we can get, the sense of pleasure that we can get from whatever substance we might be using. And it's easiest to understand when we think about emotional eating. And we will have, by the way, we will have Wendy Byard coming to the Inner Circle in April. She's a brilliant expert on emotional eating, so it will be very helpful to anyone who is struggling with this, and like, who isn't. We all use food, to manage our emotions at times, don't we? So so with emotional eating, it's so clear, because a part of sugar, which is tricky, we usually know that it is not food that is addictive. We are just addicted to the response we get from food. So either we are addicted to the relief, to the satisfaction, to the pleasure, even if this is very temporary, or we are addicted to getting a relief from. So, we use it as a way to make ourselves feel better and to avoid certain emotions. So, the question for today is for you, and there'll be like a few questions today. That's the one we are going to start with. So, just give it a moment to think, and if you can, please share with us in the comments. So is there a pattern of thinking or an emotion that you keep coming back to over and over again, even though it's not very pleasant, or even though it's very unpleasant for that matter? Is there a pattern of thinking or an emotion that kind of keeps coming into your experience over and over again, whether you want it or not? And, it might be overwhelm, it might be anxiety, it might be sadness, it might be feeling frustrated or enraged, it might be worrying, ruminating, catastrophizing. What it is for you that keeps coming into your life over and over again. So this is always the first step, to catch yourself and to realize what might be the patterns that you keep repeating. So just drop it into comments what particular pattern of thinking or emotion it is for you. And I want to tell you about 3 different ways we can talk about it. And I decided to talk about 3 different ways, like to approach it through at least 3 different angles, because that's usually the most difficult bit, to catch yourself, to realize how addicted you are, to and sometimes looking, from different perspectives helps us to find something that really resonates. Emma says anxiety. Yes, when I have a period of not feeling anxious, once I realize I got anxious about not being anxious. Exactly. That's exactly how it works. Perfect. Thanks so much, Emma, for sharing. So let's start with the easiest explanation. The easiest one is that all this might be coming directly from your early childhood. So we all grew up in certain emotional atmospheres. And that was like an emotional atmosphere created by your parents. Uh, there might be atmosphere created by your siblings as well, but by other members of the family. Later in preschool or later in school, by your peers, by your teachers, and very much also in terms of the culture and society you grew up with. For many of us, very much religion played a big part in that. So we kind of, when we were little, we kept breathing in this emotional atmosphere, and it became something that feels normal. Like that feels like, wow, this is what life is like. And we are talking here about like this deep subconscious feeling, because on the in our rational logical mind, we know that life can be very different, can be much more peaceful, much more joyous, much more fulfilling. But on a deep subconscious level, you can still have this belief that life is what it was like when you were really, really little. And it is so, so, so addictive, because that feels very familiar. And for your nervous system, whatever feels familiar is safe. And as you know, I'm sure safety is something that we are biologically predetermined to need and to crave. So this is our basic, our fundamental need, is for us to be safe so that we can survive, of course. So this is biology coming into play even. So whatever is familiar is safe. It can be uncomfortable, it can be painful, it can be ruining your life, it can be ruining your relationships. But if it's familiar, it feels safe. And you will crave it. You will crave it, like a drug. You will try to recreate it over and over again. So, for example, if you grew up, in an atmosphere of conflict, your parents fighting with each other all of the time, then you will crave this adrenaline rush that conflict gives you. And you might even very subconsciously choose a partner that has the highest chance of delivering, this nice level of adrenaline by creating a lot of conflicts. And sometimes it goes even deeper. You might have believed that real, in inverted commas, of course, real love and connection and closeness is this level of tension and drama. And then whenever you are with someone who is not creating this, who is, treating you nicely and kindly, and everything is kind of well and peaceful, then like it feels like off, and it feels boring, and it doesn't feel like real love or real connection. So this is how deep it can go. For me, for example, like the my childhood was all about survival. So although in my later life things were kind of calm and peaceful, I would keep doing two things. And this is what we all keep doing when we have like a deep addiction like this. So first of all, we look at our surroundings, we look at all the situations, people, things that surround us in a way that is aligned with this addiction. So for me, for example, when I was so addicted to survival, it was looking for potential dangers. And of course, everything can be a potential danger, yes. But so, when my son had high temperature, it was like a disaster and we should be heading for hospital. When I had a stomach pain, I was surely dying. And I remember, high wind was a huge trigger for me for many reasons. I won't go into this here, but anyway, I remember very clearly one Good Friday, because religion was a huge part in that as well. When the wind was really high and my husband was, it was afternoon, my husband went for a nap with my son, and I was on my own and the wind was high, and I really believed that the world was ending. I was truly believing. I was so anxious. It was like pure terror because I believed that the world was ending. So that was that was just an example of how we can interpret everything that is going around us so that it gives us this emotional atmosphere that we subconsciously crave. But sometimes we go even further. Sometimes we go and create, subconsciously again, create situations, circumstances in which we can get this adrenaline rush, this emotional atmosphere that we are so used to. And I'm sure you know this. Sometimes it's easier to see, with other people in our life. So I'm sure you've seen like your partner or maybe your friend or somebody at work who is just, walking around and trying to create a conflict. Yes, so you can see by the way they talk to you, the way they interact with you, the way they even their body posture, yes, and body language, is that they are just looking for a cause to start some conflict or some fight. And maybe you can realize and kind of remember yourself doing the same at times. So just give me yes in the comments or a thumb up if that sounds familiar. If you can recognize this. And this is another question. So this is the next question, which is really important. So first of all, what was this emotional atmosphere when you were little? What was it like? What did you kind of soak in like a sponge? And then the next question is, what do you do right now in your life to recreate this emotional atmosphere? Because sometimes we go, to great lengths to recreate this familiar emotional mood, this familiar way of thinking even. So what was it when you were a child? And if you feel okay to to drop something in the comments, it's kind of the same for all of us. So it's always good to see that you're not alone in all this. So what was it when you were a child, and what do you do right now to recreate it again and again in your own life? And that's a very important question. That's a very important thing to find an answer to this question, because as long as you don't know it, you can keep recreating these early wounds over and over again, and it can keep you very far away from living a full, rich, meaningful life, from living your life with peace, joy, and fulfillment. And also once you realize what it is always your first step towards freedom. Emma says walking on eggshells around my mom all the time, so we didn't make her angry. Yes, exactly. So this pattern of walking on eggshells, and there is usually an emotion there. Yes, if you look deeper, what did it feel like to walk on eggshells, and what did you believed in about yourself and about others around you? Uh, because you had to walk on eggshells, and then how do you recreate the same situations, or how do you even perceive the situations around you in the same way? So what might be happening is that you walk on eggshells right now around people, or it is totally unnecessary, but it still feels like it is. Or you might be surrounding yourself with people with whom you'd better walk on eggshells. So there might take many different forms, but realizing how it works is always like the first step to breaking free. And Hansa says, I think I liked probably to talk intently, to analyze my thoughts, feelings, and situations. I didn't get this in childhood, I think, but maybe a friend of mine and I talked every day. I seem to want to talk about everything now too. Okay, so that's very interesting. I like to talk intently, to analyze my thoughts, feelings, and situations. And there must be something where you learned this, or somebody you learned that from. And this is the question is also like whether does that bother you? Do you feel like that you talk too much? Is this like a pattern that you would like to change? Because sometimes it's very helpful. Yes, it's very healthy to talk something through with our friends or with our loved ones. It helps us to process things. So I'm not sure here, Hansa. But anyway, if this is a pattern, this is something you must have learned somewhere or from somebody. And Emma says, yes, I always trying to people please. Exactly. Okay, so let's look at this like another way. So another way is to look at this from the point of view of like neuroscience, neurobiology, or even like physiology, what is happening in our body. So I'm sure you have seen, like a video with an antelope, for example, that is being chased by a lion. So the moment she spots the danger, like her whole body like mobilizes and she runs for her life. But then if she manages to escape, you can see her like a few moments later, peacefully grazing on the savannah as if nothing happened. So the danger is gone, the stress is gone, and the joy of life is back. It is a bit different for us humans, right? And this is because we are the species that can recreate, that can trigger this stress response, the same stress response that you would get to immediate danger. You can trigger it by just your own thinking. So you can do it over and over again. You can indulge in this. You can keep thinking about what happened in the past. You can keep thinking about what might happen in the future. And in the process of doing so, you keep knocking your system out of balance over and over again. Because when you trigger this stress response, uh, but even by your thinking, without anything happening on the outside, you get this rush of energy, this wave of energy. There's a whole cascade of processes that is happening in your body once you do this. There is like a whole bunch of neurotransmitters and hormones secreted into your system, and this becomes a kind of a cocktail. And if you serve your body this cocktail quite often, It's simply get used to it. So it becomes like a drug, and you start to crave it as if you'd crave like any other external substance. So because this is such a big cascade of processes happening in your body, at the beginning it is of course throwing your body out of balance. But if you throw it out of balance often enough, then your body adjusts. Your body is a brilliant mechanism. Yes, your body is such a miracle. It can adjust to so many things. So it adjusts to having this cocktail of substances circulating in itself as well, and it becomes this imbalance becomes your new balance. And then the moment it's gone, your body like craves to have it back. So this is how it works on purely like physiological level. You get addicted to the chemical substances that are secreted in your body when stress is present. And a very innocent, very simple and very innocent example of this is when you have a very busy week, you work a lot, it's very stressful, there's a lot of things happening, and then you just wait for Friday evening. Yes, you're just dying to get there to Friday evening so that you can have a break, so that you can chill out and rest. And then the Friday evening comes and hello, you can't relax at all. It's still all this still happening. You're still all over the place. You're still like restless or agitated. And it's like it's impossible, virtually impossible, like to sit down, to start reading a book, to do your breathing, to whatever it might be for you that helps you to chill out. It's the same with holidays, right? If you're very busy and then you go for holidays, the first day or the first 2 days are like completely wasted in a way, because it is what it takes your body, your whole system to kind of change from this high level of adrenaline and cortisol to functioning in a more peaceful way. And as I said, this is just an innocent example. If you addicted to anxiety, if you addicted to anger, if you're addicted to worrying all of the time, it might be not even possible for you to very easily or just by deciding to do so, come back to different levels of these hormones and neurotransmitters. So again, I'm really curious if this is making sense for you, and if you have like any examples. And I want to tell you about the third way of looking at it, and I think this is my favorite one, just because it helped me in the past to create a huge shift in my own life. So I'm sure some of you know the concept of a pain body. I think I learned to keep busy, working at home, school to survive as a child. I replicate that now. Take too many things on. Yes. So this is addiction to being busy, to working, to being productive, probably, to making yourself useful, maybe. And that can keep you, really, really busy, and even unnecessarily busy. And of course, that has consequences, yes, in being tired, in being exhausted, sometimes in burnout, and quite often, if not in not being really available, neither for ourselves or for the people around us. It is the familiarity of lockdown now making it difficult to enjoy the same things I used to. Yes, exactly. That's a great example. Yes, that was like for many of us, if we spend long periods of time, and this is what happened in Ireland and in UK, if you got used to just being at home, interacting with people, online, and then not being surrounded by crowds of people, even while going shopping, then it was a huge shock to the system the first time you went out, probably. And it's, for many people, it caused like a lot of anxiety to be able to come back to more to the way of functioning that was like very normal for them before lockdown. Yes, so that great example, Hansa. Thank you so much for sharing this. Perfect. So the third way, and as I said, I'm sure some of you know the idea of pain body. It is coming from Eckhart Tolle. I know some of you listened to him, and I came across him long time ago. That was with his first book, The Power of Now, which was on the list of recommended books for my course in diploma course in breathwork. And this book created like a huge shift in my life, and the idea of pain body was something that resonated with me very much, and it helped me so much to understand all the patterns in which I was stuck very deeply at the time. So the pain body is just a cluster of emotions, a cluster of feelings, thoughts, even bodily sensations that comes from the past. Maybe from your early childhood, again, maybe from some other traumatic experiences, some toxic relationships, all different stuff that you went through. And these are the feelings that you didn't let go of, so they are still here, sometimes in a dormant state. The pain body can be dormant for a while and you have no idea that it is there, but then there are certain triggers and it wakes up. And you can think about it as like an energy entity, like a gremlin that lives within you. And then in certain situations, for some of us not so often, for some of us every day, for some of us it seems that it's happening all of the time, this gremlin like wakes up and takes over. And when it takes out, it has the tendency, to feed on your emotions. So it usually feels horrible, and you are totally overflooded with these feelings, and all the thoughts go in one direction because it's all aligned with your pain body. All the sensations are, of course, usually quite uncomfortable and unpleasant, but you are totally lost in it. So you are totally like engaged in this negative loop that keeps us stuck so often. Like negative emotion triggers negative, a negative thought triggers negative emotion, triggers negative sensations in the body. And if the sensations in the body get really intense, then your mind gets again anxious, and because like your mind has deep need to make sense of things, it starts to look for the explanation for these intense sensations and emotions, which creates even more negative thinking, which creates even more negative feelings, which creates even more difficult sensations in the body. So this is like a snowball that grows and grows and grows. And at the same time, you can think about it as this gremlin that is like fully woken up at this point, and it just looks around and it, roars, give me more pain, give me more stress. Where can I find some drama here? And I'm sure you can recognize this, and I'm sure you can remember moments in your life when this gremlin, this pain body was fully awake, and when like nothing else existed. It might feel like not being yourself, yes, It's the state in which we do or say things that we regret a moment later. And it feels like, God, what happened to me? Why did I do it? It wasn't me. But in that moment, like, you are totally overtaken by the gremlin. And then, once it's had enough, it's not hungry anymore, it can go back to sleep again. Wow, dormant pain body waking up makes a lot of sense to me. Yes, yeah, that is, I think it makes sense to loads of us. We all know it from our experience. So the very important thing to understand here is like, and let me know if that makes sense to you, if you can recognize this. The more unhappy you feel, the more you want to think about it. The more anxious you feel, the more you want to think about it. The more angry you feel, the more you want to think about it. Just give me yes or no in the comments. Because your pain body feeds on your emotions. So it feeds on your negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts keep feeding negative emotions. So it is all like a vicious circle. Yes, Hansa says yes. Perfect. This is very important to remember this. Because the moment your pain body awakens, you will start to feel this pull, this very strong pull to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So for today, again, another question is for you to go inside and remember a situation like that, where your pain body or this little gremlin was, fully awake. And can you remember this pull to go even more into the pain, even more into drama? And we all have like our favorite ways to do this, of course. Yes, it's somehow it's very clear in relationships sometimes, because the moment our pain body awakens, yes, we want our partner's pain body to awake too, and then we can have some feeding of the pain bodies in between us. See, this is, for me, it was like in the past, it was these long draining, even all night long arguments that were totally pointless. And what I was trying to recreate, and what my pain body was feeding on, was this feeling of being not good enough, helpless, not being able to speak up, not being able to express my truth. This is what I learned from my father, yes, who still is a very intelligent, knowledgeable, like well-educated man. I always felt stupid with him and not able to express myself, and first of all, not heard. So then I would go like through this like long arguments and discussions. It was like, I knew it was like totally stupid. It was pointless. Yes, I knew nothing would be achieved. Nothing would be gained. We would be just mean and nasty to each other. We would keep blaming one another, dragging all the things from the past. And I would be trying over and over again to explain, to express, to stay calm, to use all the different tools and techniques that I learned, to be heard, But at that moment, like, it was impossible, like, for me to be heard. So it was all pointless in a way. But the craving, the pull was so strong that I just couldn't stop myself. And I'm sure you have like examples like this as well. Hansa, could this pain body be why I might crave to delve into mild discomfort and to make it a center of my conversation, to make it more intense? Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you just blow it up. It just blow it up because it wakes up and it wants food. It wants food. So, when we think about this pool, and I know it's a bit of a stretch, but just one more thing here. Can you also notice when you get hold of this pull and craving, can you also notice that there is a part of you that likes it, a part of you that takes pleasure in it? Yes, and it might be just the pleasure of things being familiar, but there is always a tiny part of us that really enjoys this pain, that really enjoys the stress, the difficult emotion, the negative thinking stuff, all of these things that we very much want to get rid of on some level and stop and change. But there is something that really, really enjoys it. And I think if you get this part, if you can get hold on this part that likes it, you can create a huge shift very, very quickly. So this, what we are doing even now during this little chat, by answering these questions, yes, you grow your awareness, and awareness is always the first step to freedom. Yes, because when you have awareness, you have the choice as well. So that's always the first step, to see clearly, to recognize, and to admit to yourself that you're addicted to certain things and that you keep recreating them in your life, even though on some level you don't want to. So that's the step number one. And add one more step that I want to mention today, because that's essential as well. So once you realize this, once you find a pattern like this, like some of you shared, yes, and recognized even today, once you know what this pattern is, and you can catch yourself doing it in your life, then you kind of find yourself in the place that we call in psychology ambivalence. So you are kind of in between. There is old and familiar, and there is new, which is unknown. And it creates a lot of mixed feelings. So old familiar will always pull you towards it. And this old and familiar can be horrible, can be unhealthy, can be painful, can be ruining your life, can be ruining your relationships, and still it's very, very tempting to go there. And the new, unfamiliar, unknown might be much more healthier, might be, all that you've ever dreamt about, but it's still unknown. So it's always the easiest for your mind to go the old route. And it might require a bit of effort to go the new route. And that's why it's so important to be prepared for it. Just to know that this is what it's going to be like. There will be, for a period of time, there will be this strong, strong pull. And what helps you to make a better choice is being really aware of how unhealthy and horrible and not serving you well the old choice is, but also why, your big why, the reason why you want to make the change, why you want to go the new route, why it matters so much to you. And that's why we need to have practices. This is where practices come into place, because they help us to stay rooted in the new. They help us to break free from this pull and make a better choice. And that is also why the support, the community, surrounding yourself with people who can hold the space for you, who can hold you accountable, who can support the new choices that you make, is so, so, so important. And that is exactly what we are doing in the inner circle. And this is exactly what we are going to be doing on the self-love retreat. So again, please make sure that that you will join us, because it will be like 3 days that can create a lot of freedom. We had amazing time, amazing success with the last retreat. So many insights, so many breakthroughs. So many people stayed, so many women stayed with us, for the for good in the inner circle. And now we will be doing the same again, because yeah, basically because this is what the world needs right now. Or of course, Hansa. Yes, the poll applies very much to toxic relationships. Like, as I said, like this game in between, our pain bodies is probably something that is most addictive of all things that are addictive in the world. So we kind of and that is very much coming most often from our early childhood. So we recreate this wound that we carry inside, and we find people around us who kind of trigger this wound over and over again. Okay, so thank you very much for today. We spent a long time today on this Self-Love Sunday chat. So again, if there is anything here that you struggle with and that you would need a bit of support, for those of you who are in the inner circle, please share it in our Facebook group. For those of you who aren't, maybe you can join us in the inner circle, if this is something that resonates and that you need a bit of support with. And please make sure to share the self-love retreat with the women who might benefit from it. This is a time that we really need to come together as women in the world, be together, support each other, practice together, so that we can stay deeply rooted in peace. Thank you so much, Emma, as well. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jan. Have a peaceful Sunday and see you soon. So bye for now.